to call the Windsor Township Zoning Board to order. Mr. Wellstone.
All right, good evening, everyone. We're here this evening for the zoning hearing for Kauffman-Rausch Family Farm Partnership. There is a quorum of the zoning hearing board present. I know there are a number of people here this evening, so I want to give just some detail to everyone so you know what to expect with respect to this hearing. The applicant is here. The applicant is represented by counsel. The applicant is going to be given the opportunity to present their case to the board. They're going to be able to present as many witnesses as they desire. If you make yourself a party to these proceedings, and we'll give everyone an opportunity to make themselves a party, you will be given an opportunity to question any of the applicant's witnesses, and we will be able to present any witnesses and your own testimony that you would have with respect to this application. Regardless of if you make yourself a party to these proceedings, if you would like to make public comment at the end of the proceedings, one way or the other, we will have an opportunity for you to do that as well. If you don't want to be a party, but you nevertheless want to make a public comment, we'll have an opportunity for that. So before we begin with the formal proceedings, I want to make sure we have everyone who wants to make themselves a party. So we're going to begin with the applicant. The applicant, again, is represented by counsel. Counsel, could you enter your appearance for the record?
Beth M. Cole of Farley Snyder.
Thank you, Beth. And the township is here. The township is represented by their solicitor. Mr. Solicitor, could you enter your appearance for the record?
Yes, Russell Farbiars, Antoinette Farbiars.
Thank you. All right. Again, there are a number of people here, so if you would like to make yourself a party, let's start with this side of the room and work ourselves over. Just raise your hand. Yep. So why don't you stand up, state your name and your address. One at a time, please.
Laura Palana, Ealahak, 2248, Old Route 22, Leonardsville, 19534.
Okay. Counsel, do you have any objection with their standing?
I do not.
Okay, sir.
Michael Paladin, same last name spelling, same address.
No objection.
All right. Sir, do you want to make yourself a party to the proceedings?
He's a witness for the applicant.
You're a witness, okay. Anybody else in that row? Raise your hand if you want to seek to become a party. Is that a no?
Can I ask a question?
To me?
Yes.
Sure.
What's the difference between a party and remarks?
Good question. Good question. In order to maintain your standing to appeal any decision that's adverse to you in these proceedings, you need to make yourself a party tonight, okay?
Okay.
So if the board makes a decision that you don't like, and you haven't made yourself a party, you're going to have a problem appealing at the next level, okay? So
Sure, I'll make myself
you want to make
a party.
yourself a
Yeah.
party, all right. What's your name, sir?
Steve Miller,
And what's your address?
700 Stephen Drive, Hartsville.
Thank you, sir. Counsel, any objections?
Can I just ask him to identify on an aerial where he's
Sure.
located?
Sure.
It's across the street. I'm agreeable to that.
Okay.
No objections.
All right. Moving to the second row.
Sorry, can I?
You also would?
Yeah, yeah. Jerry Miller, Jeri, and same address, 700 Stephen Drive.
Yeah, I assume no
Same,
objection.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, totally. Thank you.
Second row. Anybody in the second row, raise your hand if you want party status.
He's hard of hearing, so I'm interpreting.
Okay.
We're husband and wife, Heidi and Brad Gibler, G-I-V as in Victor, L as in love, E-R. And down the road from Steve, 100 Stephen Drive. It's just a few houses down, you'll see on the map.
Okay. Council, any objection?
Do you need to point to the point?
Stephen's a cul-de-sac, so I'm okay.
Yeah, we're
That's
the
fine.
cul-de-sac, yes.
Thank you. Just moving my way over here. Anybody else in that row? All right, I see no takers. What about the final row? Anybody in the back row want to seek to become a party? Yes, sir.
Charles Culver.
Spell your last name.
C-O-L-V-E-R. 911 Sunday Road.
What was your last name?
Culver, C-O-L-V-E-R.
911 Sunday Road?
Yep,
Is that in Lenhartsville?
yep.
No objection.
Thank
He
you.
adjoins the property.
All right. Any other takers? Anybody I missed? All right, I think we have everyone here. Just some preliminary matters before I turn it over to council to present the applicant's case. The board does have a number of exhibits to be placed onto the record. Board exhibit number 1 is an affidavit of publication indicating that notice of tonight's hearing was advertised 2 times in the Reading Eagle. The Reading Eagle is a newspaper of general circulation within the township. Board exhibit number 2 is a proof of posting indicating that Mr. Westner, in his capacity as the zoning officer, posted the property that's the subject of the hearing with the notice of tonight's hearing. Board exhibit number 3 is an affidavit of mailing indicating that my assistant mailed notice of tonight's hearing to the applicant and to neighboring property owners. Although not marked as an exhibit, both the zoning ordinance to the extent necessary and the application that was submitted to the board and all of its exhibits will be made part of the record for tonight's proceedings. Council, do you have any objection to those items being made part of the record?
I do not.
All right, so they will be made part of the record. Do any of the parties have any objection to them?
No objection, but there is a new family that moved in next door to us, and Sherry and Sterling's house, so there's a new couple living there, so I don't know if they have to be notified at all.
Well, we do have a list of property owners within the sphere that needs to get the notice. Those people were
I
mailed.
mean,
the
literally
notice.
just moved in, so they probably didn't get no notice of this.
Yeah, the list we received actually still had Sterling and Sherry's name and address on it.
Excuse me?
The list we received of all the people
In the area.
that should be affected,
Okay.
they still had Sherry and Sterling listed on it.
The prior owner?
Yeah.
Well, it would have, the notice nevertheless would have gone to the appropriate address, so,
And did you make them aware of this hearing?
No.
all right. All right, so with that, with no objection, we're going to turn it over to council to present your case.
Excellent, thank you. Good evening, gentlemen. I appreciate the opportunity to be before you tonight. My name is Beth Cole. I am here representing the applicant Kauffman-Rausch Family Farm Partnership. We are seeking primarily the relief tonight of a variance by estoppel. That is a legal variance that relies on the theory that the municipality knew or should have known of this use for a period of time, that my client relied to that in good faith for a number of years to its detriment, and that it would suffer undue hardship if the use that we're going to be discussing tonight would be now stopped from continuing. I'm going to hand out binders that have a series of exhibits we're going to run through. Some of this involves a lot of history, so I ask you to bear with me. I'll get those to you in a moment. In the event that the board finds that we do not meet our burden to establish a variance by estoppel this evening, we have in the alternative asked for a variance simply to extend what is provided for in your zoning ordinance, which is that on a property in something like the industrial district that adjoins an R2 property, right now the ordinance does allow that use to encroach onto the R2 30 feet, and we're asking for a variance for it to extend the rest of the frontage within just this small section of the property of up to Route 22. So that is the alternate relief we'll be seeking. We'll get to that through testimony, but I'll hand some exhibits and we'll bring our first witness to the stand. I heard you say you were passing. My brain didn't go along with you. For the parties here, if you'd like to see the exhibits, I have 2 additional copies. Where are you? You're.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah, I was gonna say, if we can
primarily in the first and second row, so.
figure a way to,
Do you want one?
I think,
Because you're right, yeah, if we can keep like, it's like.
yeah, I mean, just to follow along, or if you'd like to
Do you want this one, Chuck?
switch seats.
Do you mind passing this? Because you're like right connected to it.
I mean, I'm happy to provide copies after the hearing, it's just.
You're not taking it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect.
We're off the record now, just when you're ready.
No. If you can just sit in that seat.
Okay.
So please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
If it's okay with the board, I think I'll sit, just so I'm not blocking anyone's view of the witness.
However you're comfortable.
Yeah, I think we'll do that. Did you state your name for the record?
David H. Kauffman.
Mr. Kauffman, can you tell us how you're affiliated with the applicant this evening, Kauffman-Rausch Family Farm Partnership?
I'm a full partner with my sister Doris. We own that court, I guess you would say.
The partnership, correct?
Yeah.
And that's Doris Long, correct?
Correct.
And she's here tonight and authorized you to testify?
Yes.
Does that partnership own the property that is the subject of tonight's hearing?
Yes, it does.
I'd ask you to open the exhibit book and starting with the first exhibit there, I'm showing you what's marked as Exhibit A1. Is that a series of 3 deeds that are the current deeds by which the partnership owns the property?
Yes.
And I'm going to apologize to the board. I realized at the last minute that my system did not staple all of the exhibits together. A couple of them are and the others aren't. So bear with me, and if you need a moment to catch up for where we're at, I'm happy to do that. Mr. Kauffman, can you tell me when the partnership acquired the property that's the subject of tonight's hearing?
It would have been when my father actually transferred the property to us. Would have been in 1985, I believe. That was the incorporated.
Yeah, what's the date on the deeds, Mr. Kauffman?
It would have, what's actually on the deed here is 11603.
Okay. And you acquired the property at that time from your father, Harry Kauffman, for those deeds, correct?
Correct.
Are you aware that the current acreage of the property is 68 acres?
Correct.
If you flip to what's marked as Exhibit A2 in the exhibit binder,
Okay,
Yep.
there.
is that a true and correct image from the Berks County Assessment Office's tax parcel viewer that shows the boundary of the property in red?
Yes, it is.
And for the stenographer tonight, does that depict that the property is bounded to the north by Interstate 78, the south by Old Route 22, to the east by Sunday Road and covers land on both the east and west sides of Monument Road.
Yes.
If we turn to the application that was submitted here tonight, was there a site plan that was included with that application?
Yes.
And if I show you what's marked as Exhibit A3, is that a true and correct copy of the plan?
Yes.
And for the board's reference, I do have a larger copy here. There's an 11 by 17 you can fold out. I can also place another large copy on the desk if you'd like.
That's it.
That is it.
Yeah.
Mr. Kauffman, is the portion of the property that is the subject of the hearing tonight shown on that plan in a cross-hatched area labeled as limit of construction yard?
Yes.
Okay. And is that limit of construction yard bounded on its east side by Monument Road?
Yes.
Well, actually, bounded by other property of Kauffman-Rausch Family Partnership, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it is bounded to the west by a post and wire fence shown on that plan, is that correct?
That is correct.
And so immediately to the east of that fence is a stream and wetlands, and that is further to the east than the area we're discussing tonight, correct?
Correct.
And just to be clear, the northern edge of that construction yard we're discussing tonight is essentially along the zoning boundary line between the township's limited industrial district and medium density residential district, correct?
Correct.
That would be approximately 250 feet parallel and north of Old Route 22, is that correct?
Correct.
I know it's written in the deeds, but just for the record, was the property that we're talking about here tonight acquired by your parents in 1960?
Yes, it was.
How long have you personally been familiar with this property?
Since my mom and dad actually purchased it
And that was in 1960?
in 1960.
Do you recall how the property was used? And when I say the property, I'm going to talk for the moment about the entire 68 acres. If I say the property, that is what I'm referring to. If I refer to the subject area tonight, I'm talking about this smaller area depicted as the construction yard. Does that work for everyone? Great. But I'll try to clarify my question. At the time that your parents acquired the property as a whole in 1960, how was the site used?
Since their purchase, we actually removed all of the fruit trees that were on the property, and the Conservation District from Berks County came in, laid out contour strips on the entire property, and we implemented that plan, and it's still, for the most part, in that conservation plan today.
Great. Mr. Kauffman, where do you live currently?
1025 Sunday Road.
And how long have you lived there?
I purchased the property in 1978.
And is Sunday Road just essentially around the corner from this property?
Yes,
Is it safe to say that for most of the 47 years since 1978, you've driven by this property or been on this property?
yes.
Do you recall the first time that any portion of the full property on the east side of Monument Road was used for something other than agriculture?
On the east side of Monument Road?
Correct.
No. I mean, going back to,
Well, during your parents' ownership?
No.
Because you said it was agriculture.
everything was in agriculture.
Okay. Did something occur in the late 70s or early 80s that changed the use of a portion of the property?
Yes, that would have been an arrangement with a company by the name of Number One Contracting out of Pittston, Pennsylvania. They won an update contract on I-78, which started at Monument Road and went to Lenhartsville, including the bridge at Lenhartsville. And they were looking for a site to construct a concrete batch plant and operate their equipment, loading, unloading onto the job site.
And you think that was around 1979 or 80, is that correct?
Yes,
Did the use at that time include any of the area that is the subject of tonight's hearing?
no,
Okay. Do you recall how long Number One Contracting was on the property?
Al Roman didn't have the best management, and there was equipment that was left on the site probably until 1985, 6, even maybe 7.
And we'll look at some other aerial photos shortly, but if you look back at what's on Exhibit A2, the aerial photograph, the area that Number One Contracting occupied, was that essentially between, to the south of 78, but west of what appears to be a stream corridor running through that eastern part of the the
Yes.
western part of the property?
Yes,
So Number One Contracting was on the site until about 1986. A couple years after that, did you and your sister, on behalf of your parents, apply for a variance on the property?
yes, we did,
Okay. And was that to construct dry goods warehousing on the property?
yes.
You turn to what's marked as Exhibit A4, please. Mr. Kauffman, is that a true and correct copy of the request that was submitted to the township for that variance?
Yes, it is.
And is the second page of that a zoning map from that point in time?
Yes, it is.
And does that show the portion of the property that was in consideration at that time?
Yes,
At that time, was the front 250 feet of the property along Old Route 22 zoned in the township's R2 district
yes,
per the map?
for the map.
Yes. But at that time, was the rest of the property on the east side of Monument Road zoned agriculture?
Yes,
Is it your recollection that somewhere in the late 90s, that land that was zoned agriculture was rezoned by the township to be limited industrial?
yes,
As we reference the area that we're talking about tonight, that was R2 at the time. Was the warehouse proposed in the R2 or in the A portion?
it was actually proposed in the A portion.
Did that variance get approved?
No, yes, it did get approved.
Did it ever get built?
We never built.
Okay. Instead, did you then start to operate an excavating business on the property?
Yes, I did in roughly 85, roughly in that era.
And was that in essentially the same area that Number One Contracting had occupied?
Yes,
Is the excavating business that you started then, 40 years ago, essentially the same excavating business that operates on the property as a whole today?
yes,
And that is now known as Furnace Stream Farms Excavating, correct?
correct.
And just for clarity here, is that also a business that is owned jointly by you and your sister Doris Long?
Yes, it is.
And did that occupy essentially the same area as Number One Contracting, not within the area we're talking about tonight?
Yes,
Just to provide some historical context, we have a number of aerial photographs here from Google Earth that depict the property at various times over the 25 years that follow. And so just as a catch-all, They all are marked with a number. Do each of those show the date from Google Earth in the upper left-hand corner and the
Yes.
source of the image in the lower left-hand corner?
Yes.
And just so the record's clear, we're starting at applicant's exhibit number 5 is the first image.
Correct. There's a number of Google Earth images. A5 is the first. I was hoping to catch all that all of the Google Earth images are situated in that manner and reflect that information
Thank you.
as we run through them for efficiency of boring you with words. Mr. Kauffman, if you look at what's marked as Exhibit A5, does that indicate it's an aerial photograph from April 5th of 1992?
Yes, it does.
And I know it's blurry, but can you describe generally the conditions on the property at that time? Ideally focusing on the area to the west side of the stream corridor.
To the west side of the stream corridor, if you take notice, I-78 moving south, there's actually an open ditch on this particular photograph that was a drainage ditch.
Is that a ditch between sort of the stream area and Monument Road?
Correct.
And what was the activity that was occurring north of that ditch?
At that point, that was the extent of the construction yard that number 1 contracting had actually occupied.
And at that point in time in 1992, you were occupying it with your excavating business?
Correct.
And was the area south of that drainage ditch still in agriculture?
Yes, it was.
Turning to Exhibit A6, was the condition and uses on the property essentially the same on that date of April 7th, 1993 as it was on April 5th of 1992?
Yes.
Looking at Exhibit A7, which is labeled April 12th of 1999, was that essentially, again, the same uses in the same locations?
Yes, it is.
And similarly, looking at Exhibit A8, labeled March 31st, 2004, is that also generally depicting that the same uses were occurring in the same places?
Yes.
Mr. Kauffman, during those years, was there a reason that you were not using any portion of the land that's part of tonight's application for your excavating business?
Well, at that particular time, we didn't necessarily need it.
Okay.
Quite frankly, we had enough space.
And did that drainage ditch that's depicted on the property serve as a bit of a barrier between the northern and southern portions of the tract?
Yes, it did.
Okay. At that time, did you think that if you wanted to, you would have been able to use the southern portion, including the area we're discussing tonight, for the excavating business?
Yes.
And why did you believe that?
Well, quite frankly, the township had approached my mom and dad about changing the zoning. As a matter of fact, I think there's numerous people like Stephen Road, the subdivision that we swapped zoning with. We didn't swap it, the township swapped it. What actually facilitated that subdivision to be built. And there's,
And Mr. Kauffman, when you say swapped zoning, did that essentially entail taking land on the east side of Sunday Road that was zoned industrial and changing its zoning to agriculture?
yes,
And changing some of your agricultural land to be zoned limited industrial?
yes.
And were there discussions at that time or prior with anyone at the township about using this portion of the property or access through this portion of the property?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to have to object to discussions with the township.
That's fine.
Based on hearsay.
Look, zoning hearings, hearsay is permissible. The objection's understood. The board can take it for what it's worth.
I'd also note that while I don't question Mr. Kauffman is telling the truth as he recollects it. There's absolutely no way for any of the other parties to verify what he is testifying to, given the length of time and the lack of specificity as to who he has spoken to. You know, generally saying the township, that does not give us.
I'm happy to clarify some testimony and,
Okay.
and make sure that it's clear that it's his understanding and recollection of the specifics.
Right.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Um,
But I'd like it noted for the record.
It's noted, and the board will, take under advisement.
Mr. Kauffman, we're talking about the period of time prior to 2004. Prior to 2004, do you recall speaking with any specific individual at the township regarding that lower portion of the property related to any development, access, or the like?
We had actually applied for a warehouse to be constructed on that property. And Franklin Warner was the zoning hearing board officer. I think that's the proper terminology. Frank came out on the site and we discussed the site, and I brought up the truck traffic issue and the horrible intersection of Old 22 and Monument Road. And even today, you can see that tractor trailer trucks have a rough time making that right-hand turn if they're coming from west or east to west. And I asked Mr. Warner, I said, it would, in my opinion, be best if we could actually access that area that we wanted to place the warehouse on from south of what was owned or east of what was owned by Joyce and Ralph Armentrout. And
Excuse me if I may interrupt. Are you, the Armentrout property, is that what's shown on the site plan, Exhibit 8-3 at the left side, that's now owned by Kauffman-Rausch?
yes,
Thank you. Just for the board's understanding.
and he said at that point that he wouldn't see any reason why that couldn't be done, providing that we could get the proper permitting from PennDOT.
But essentially, at that point in time, you ended up not building a warehouse,
Correct.
and that southern area remained in agriculture through 2004, correct?
Correct.
Did something then change with respect to the property in 2004?
Well, there was another contractor that was actually brought in for another Interstate 78 update project from the bridge at Monument Road all the way to Cabela's in 61. And they were looking for a site to actually build a concrete batch plant to service and manufacture or create concrete for that job. And the name of that company was Balfour Beatty.
And did Balfour Beatty enter a lease agreement with Kauffman-Rausch to lease a portion of the property?
Yes.
I'm now going to show you what's marked as Exhibit A9. You can turn to that. That's an aerial labeled June 6th of 2005.
Correct.
Does that image show the property while the Balfour Beatty lease was in effect?
Yes, it does.
Can I just, are you going to present that lease? Do you have a copy of that lease?
I do, if you think it's necessary. It's very vague as to specifics. There is no dimensions. I can mark it and just put it in the record.
Might not be a bad idea. It's your case, but.
We can do that.
trade secrets in there.
A23, I think.
This
you're
is
on.
going to be A23. I'll show it to you, Mr. Kauffman, and then I would like to take a moment to let the board at least take a look at it. Mr. Kauffman, I'm showing you what's marked as A23. Is that a true and correct copy of a lease agreement with Balfour Beatty Construction
Yes, it
for a
is.
portion of the property? And what's the date of that lease?
The date here is 4/9.
What are the date of signatures
Oh, I'm
on
sorry.
it?
That's 10/4/19.
So October 4th, 2019.
Correct.
Wait.
That's not right.
I'm sorry.
Wrong paper.
It is the wrong paper. Sorry.
When you said 19, I
I
was
was
like, that's
yeah,
not
100%.
right. Definitely.
Off the record for a second,
Yeah.
please. Try that again.
All right.
Apologize.
Okay, we're back on, everyone.
Mr. Kaufman.
Try
Apologies.
again.
I'm now showing you what's marked as Exhibit A23.
Yes,
Is that the true and correct copy of a lease agreement with Balfour Beatty Construction, Inc.?
yes, it is.
And that was a lease with Furnace Stream Farms, correct?
Correct,
Signed by you as
correct.
general partner?
Yes,
Okay, and that was dated February 11th of 2004, is that
correct.
Would the township like to see the exhibit?
Yes. You can show it to the board first, though.
Parties like to see it at this time, I can provide a copy after the hearing.
Quick question.
And I'll leave this with you and the exhibits. Essentially, did that lease agreement provide that Balfour Beatty was going to be providing a batch plant site and a trailer complex for the property?
Correct.
Bless you. If we now look at what's marked as Exhibit A9, which is dated June 6th of 2005, does that show, to your recollection from Google Earth, the conditions of the property on June 6th of 2005?
Yes.
Would have been conditions at the beginning of Balfour Beatty's occupancy on the property?
Yes.
Looking to what we're calling, I'll say, the south side of the drainage ditch, there appears to be something connecting from the northern yard to that southern area. Do you know what that was?
That was a roadway that was constructed by Balfour Beatty. They needed more square footage to actually store temporary barrier prior to actually starting the job. And we agreed to extend, and they agreed to make the improvements in order to access that property.
Would the conditions that are shown there be essentially the start of Balfour Beatty's operations in that area?
Correct.
If you now turn to what's marked as Exhibit A10, which is identified and dated as May 27th of 2008, does that image show the property essentially as it existed toward the later part of the Balfour Beatty lease?
Yes.
And can you describe the conditions in the southern portion of the property, south of what we've called the drainage ditch?
You can see that there was additional equipment, trailers, and the like that extended all the way out to and including, up to Old 22.
So that area was used during Balfour Beatty's tenancy on the property, is that correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you recall driving along Old Route 22 while Balfour Beatty was present on the property?
Yes.
And do you recall if you could see their operation from Old 22?
You could see some of it.
How long, and I believe your testimony was Balfour Beatty was storing concrete barrier on the property.
Correct.
And is that essentially highway construction
Yes.
materials? During any portion of Balfour Beatty's, how long was Balfour Beatty present on the property?
If I remember correctly, it's been a long time, but this particular was taken May 9th, or no, wait, this one was taken May 27th, 2008.
Yeah, we're still on 2008.
Yeah. They would have been there, I think, through, it might have been 2012.
That there was some occupancy.
Yes.
Do you recollect an agreement with them, whether in writing or verbal, that the tenancy would be 5 years initially?
Yes.
So at least through 2009.
Yes.
During the time period that Balfour Beatty was on the property, was Furnace Stream Farms Excavating storing any of its material in the area south of the drainage ditch, including what we're calling the construction yard we're talking about tonight?
Yes.
Do you recall what material was being stored down there?
Would have been stone, various sizes, topsoil, fill material that we generated on our own job sites, and we refer to them as borrow piles because when we need fill, we retrieve it. When we have additional or excess fill, we have some place to put it.
Do you recall exactly when during Balfour Beatty's occupancy Furnace Stream Farms moved material to that subject area we're talking about tonight?
Do I remember when we moved material in there? It would have, I know that they were still operating when we had already moved material on that site.
But you don't know for sure if you can say that you were occupying that part of the property in 2008?
No.
Okay. I'd like to shift now to what's marked as Exhibit A11. Is that identified as an aerial photograph from May 9th of 2010?
Yes.
And does that show the property essentially after Balfour Beatty had terminated most of its operations on the property?
Yes.
And how are you aware of that based on what you see there?
The removal of most of the fixed trailers that they moved in on site, and the area that they used originally for a laydown area for their equipment and also for their construction materials, like barriers and the like, they're removed from the site.
Do you know with certainty that Furnace Stream Farms Excavating was storing material in the subject area of our hearing at that point in May of 2010?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we have a steel building structure that they removed from a job site, and you can actually see it. It appears brown in color just to the north of the edge of Old Route 22.
Okay. Were there also material stockpiles of
Yes.
Furnace Stream Farms in that subject area?
Yes,
Was there also storage trailers in that area?
yes it was.
Was there any excavating equipment?
Yes,
Has some portion of Furnace Stream Farms equipment and materials been stored in that area, including right up to Old Route 22, since essentially at least 2010?
yes,
You indicated that Balfour Beatty still had some presence on the site until about 2012. However, before they had fully departed, were you contacted about the potential to place additional fill on your property?
yes. I was actually approached by Brubaker Excavating, who had a contract to do a major desilting project at Leisure Lake, which would be off of 143 North, up in the New Tripoli area.
And were you open to accepting that fill material?
Yes.
Why were you interested in having fill material on the property?
Because the elevations as they were and the laydown area and the part of the yard, it was not level, and by adding additional fill over the now what was an open ditch there, which was now piped, concrete pipe, we could actually cover that pipe, raise the elevation so that we would have a more level area to actually work off of.
Was that with the understanding that you would use all of that area as part of excavating yard?
Yes,
In order to facilitate the receipt, did you then agree to accept the material?
yes,
To facilitate receipt of that fill, did Kauffman-Rausch apply for and obtain an NPDES permit for bringing all of that fill material to the site?
yes, we did.
I'm going to show you what's marked as Exhibit A12 in your binder. Is that a true and correct copy of the permit that you obtained? The National Pollutant
Yes.
Discharge Elimination System permit. Mr. Kauffman, are you aware as to whether during the years up until that permit in 2010, the property had been enrolled in the county's Clean and Green preferential tax assessment program?
Correct.
And To your knowledge, was that property first enrolled in 1994 by your parents?
Yes,
However, following completion of the project, of the fill project from Leaser Lake, did Kauffman-Rausch, due to that fill activity, was the property removed from Clean and Green?
yes,
After the project was completed, did Kauffman-Rausch re-enroll its 68-acre tract in the county's Clean and Green program, but exclude certain acreage?
yes.
If you turn to Exhibit A13,
Here,
Is Exhibit A13 a true and correct copy of the Clean Green application that was signed by you and Doris Long as partners?
yes,
And does that application indicate you were electing to exclude 14 acres of the property from the preferential assessment?
that is correct.
When you did that re-enrollment, did you ensure that the area that's the subject of tonight's hearing was included in the excluded 14 acres?
Correct.
And why did you do that?
Well, we did that because we were under the impression that we were allowed to operate on the entire piece of property.
On the west side of the
On
street?
the west side of the street.
And at that point in time, when that re-enrollment was done in 2012, you were storing material in that entire area
Yes,
west of the stream, correct?
correct.
If you turn now to what's shown as Exhibit A14, is that an aerial photograph marked September 12th of 2012?
Yes,
And does that show portions of the area we're talking about tonight being revegetated from the condition of the fill project?
yes. It also includes a considerable amount of topsoil.
Does that area that we're showing as tonight's construction yard still have construction materials and trailers stored in that area?
Yes, it does.
In 2012, did you enter a lease arrangement with another company to also store highway construction materials in the frontage of the property, our construction yard this evening?
Yes, and that would, go ahead.
Who was that?
That was Collinson Incorporated, and I think their main office is out of Maryland.
Do you know what business Collinson is in?
Yeah, they primarily deal with replacing damaged guardrail or guide rail on highways.
So they're a highway contractor.
Yes,
And what material were they storing on the property?
would have been basically rail posts and rail itself.
In 2012, did you have a formal lease agreement with Collinson?
Yes,
Do you have a copy of the formal lease agreement from 2012?
I think the first year, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. If you turn to what's marked as Exhibit A15, is that a true and correct copy of an email between Furnace Stream Farms and Thomas Collinson of Collinson Inc. regarding their use of the yard?
Yes.
And what was the date of that email?
The date on here is September 10th, 2012.
Do you still lease space in the subject area of tonight's hearing to Collinson to this day?
Yes,
So that's, during those years, has Furnace Stream Farms continued to house its own material in the area of tonight's hearing?
yes,
in or around 2013, did you also begin to allow a company called Long Fence to store concrete barriers in the area subject to tonight's hearing?
Yes,
Did you have a formal written lease agreement with Long Fence?
yes,
But do we have a copy of that with us today?
I'm not sure.
I'll suggest that we don't. But is Long Fence still permitted through arrangement with Furnace Stream Farms to
Yes.
store its material on the property?
Yes,
And what is its material that it would store on the property?
concrete barrier,
Very similar to Balfour Beatty going back to 2004.
yes,
I'm now going to show you what's marked as Exhibit A16, which is identified as an aerial photo from March 29th of 2016. Mr. Kauffman, does that show the property as it existed in 2016, approximately 9 years ago?
yes,
And does the subject area of tonight's hearing contain many trailers, vehicles, piles of stone, topsoil, and concrete, all in the area of tonight's hearing?
correct,
And those materials are stored on the rest of the property to the west of the stream, but east of Monument Road, correct?
correct,
If you look at what's labeled as Exhibit A17, and identified as September 22nd of 2020, does that show the property as it existed in 2020, approximately 5 years ago?
yes,
And similarly, does that also depict the storage of many trailers, vehicles, piles of stone, dirt, concrete
Yes.
in the area of tonight's hearing? And to be clear, at that point in time, in 2020, did you have any reason to believe that your use of that portion of the property was not permitted or was somehow in violation of township requirements?
no,
Can you tell me the first time that you ever became aware of the township or any of its representatives having any question or concern about the operations of Furnace Stream Farms Excavating on this property as a whole?
when we received a letter, a cease and desist letter from the township,
And was that in February of 2025?
yes,
To your recollection, did that letter address a zoning violation?
yes,
Was the focus at that time about moving dirt on the property?
no,
We'll have a second witness testify further about that. But would it be your testimony that in early 2025 is the first time you ever were aware that anything you were doing on this property was in any way problematic from a zoning standpoint?
that is correct,
We talked briefly earlier about whether Balfour Beatty's operations were visible from Old Route 22. Do you believe there was anything that restricted visibility from Old 22 for a period of time?
well, if you look at the photographs, as I told you before, there's a considerable amount of topsoil that was stockpiled, and in our preparation to hopefully be able to utilize the property to our advantage, we were actually moving that topsoil around. Now, there may have been 3-4 feet high of vegetation that was on top of the topsoil piles yet as well.
So there was some type of visual screen from a portion of the property?
Yes.
Is that correct? But essentially, that area we're talking about tonight was storing construction materials for Furnace Stream Farms Excavating
Yes.
for at least 15 years.
Yes,
Mr. Kauffman, moving to the years subsequent to 2020, have you now entered a lease with H&K for a part of the overall 68-acre property?
Yes,
And was that lease signed in July of 2022?
yes,
And did that lease agreement essentially lease to H&K the portion of the property north of the zoning boundary line and east of Monument Road to the stream corridor?
yes,
Did you enter that lease with the expectation that you would continue to use the area we're discussing this evening for your excavation business as you've done for the past 15 years?
yes,
I'm now showing you what's marked as Exhibit A18. Is this a true and correct copy of the first 6 pages of the recorded, with the Berks County Recorder of Deeds, land development plans that were recorded for H&K's new proposed concrete plant on the property pursuant to that lease?
yes,
And is it your understanding that those plans were approved by Windsor Township?
yes,
Is it your understanding that those plans were first submitted to the township in or about February of 2023?
yes,
If you turn to what's labeled as sheets 3 of 22 in that plan set, third page of,
The third page.
yes, I'm sorry, I know the numbers are small. There you go. Does that depict an aerial image of the property, grainy as it may be?
yes,
And within the area we're discussing tonight, does that aerial image show that there's storage of materials, as we've been discussing, in the area that we're talking about this evening?
yes,
If you look at 2 pages later, page 5, which is the second to last in that set. Does that depict the area we're discussing tonight as containing a large gravel area, a pile of dirt, pile of stone, another pile of dirt, and a fence
Yes.
around the western edge of the area we're discussing?
yes,
And lastly, on the last page of that set, did H&K's plan show a driveway connection from H&K's leased area through to the area we're discussing tonight?
yes,
And was that designed in cooperation with you and H&K? So that you could continue to have access to your excavation
yes,
operation? To your knowledge, did anyone at the township raise any questions or concerns about what was shown on these plans as to what was occurring south of H&K's leased area?
no,
At the outset, we talked about how one of our obligations tonight is to show how you've relied on your belief that you were permitted to use the property the way you were, and that you'd have some hardship if you were forced to stop utilizing it now. I'd like to go back to our discussion about the NPDES permit for the fill area. When you desired to accept that fill, did you hire an engineering firm to obtain the NPDES permit?
yes,
I'm going to show you what's marked as Exhibit A19. Follows those plans, it's after those.
yeah,
Is that a true and correct copy of correspondence from McCarthy Engineering to Berks County Conservation District submitting the application for the NPDES permit?
yes,
And does that memorandum reflect payments of $2,000 and $500 for the ENS and NPDES permit review fees?
yes,
If you look at what's marked as Exhibit A20, is that a true and correct copy of an invoice you received from McCarthy Engineering for that work?
Yes,
Does that reflect that they did the work on a fixed fee basis at a cost of $3,400?
yes,
Did you pay that amount?
yes,
Did you also pay some miscellaneous costs of McCarthy in that project?
yes.
So altogether, do you recall approximately how much money you spent between engineering fees and permit fees? From the numbers we've looked at, it looks to be between $6,000 to $7,000.
Correct.
And did you do that fill project because at that time, in 2010, 15 years ago, you intended to continue to use this area we're talking about tonight for your excavation business?
Yes,
I'd like to turn to the H&K lease as a discussion topic. At the time that you negotiated that lease, if you had believed that you were not able to continue using the area we're discussing tonight as you had since 2010 or prior, would you have attempted to structure the lease with H&K differently?
yes.
How so?
I would have asked them to condense their operations on a smaller footprint, allowing us the amount of space that we required in order to continue operating.
However, you relied on your understanding that there was no problem with what you had been openly doing for 15 years, correct?
Correct.
Mr. Kauffman, does the Kauffman-Rausch Family Farm Partnership have other land within this 68-acre property that is zoned limited industrial?
Yes,
And is it your understanding that a contractor storage yard is permitted in the limited industrial zoning district?
yes,
However, is the remainder of the land on this property currently used for agriculture, such
Yes.
that you would lose tillable land by locating it there?
yes, it is.
More importantly, is the remainder of the area in limited industrial currently enrolled in clean and green?
Yes,
Is it your understanding that placing the business in that area that is receiving preferential treatment would trigger a rollback under the clean and green program?
absolutely.
And does that trigger the requirement of 7 years of back taxes plus interest?
Correct.
Have you communicated with the county assessment office in recent years about how much that might cost?
It would be in excess of $40,000.
And again, you carved out that southern area when you enrolled the property in clean and green because A, you were already using it, and B, you didn't intend to use it for this purpose.
Correct.
Lastly, the area we're talking about tonight, which has been in some type of construction yard use since Balfour Beatty arrived in 2004, is that land that could be easily converted back to agricultural production?
No.
Can you describe what it would take to do that, or why your answer is no?
There's considerable amounts of concrete that have been buried, footings and the like for past batch plants that were erected there. In order to bring that back into, some sort of even reasonable activity to farm it, it's just cost prohibitive, period.
How long do you think it would take even if you tried?
Years. And
10 years?
at an absolute minimum.
That's all the questions I have for this witness. I would open up to questions from the board or parties.
All right. Do any of the board members have any questions for the witness? No? Okay. Then we're going to start with, George, do you have a question?
I mean, I think we're all trying to follow this as closely as we can. We've been at it for over an hour.
Understood.
And I'd like to have if you could summarize, maybe a brief.
Well, why don't we do this? When we're all said and done, and she's presented her case, I'm going to give her an opportunity to close her case and give us a closing statement.
Okay.
So you'll be able to
I
summarize.
will,
for us. All right.
absolutely.
We'll do that.
Absolutely. I have one other witness, briefer testimony than this.
I have some questions.
All right. Well, do you have any questions, Mr. Wessner?
I do have a couple questions.
All right.
When you were talking about, on the property, Baby Belfast, or the concrete company?
That would have probably been Balfour Beatty.
Balfour Beatty,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's fine.
At the same time, you were operating an excavation business out of the property?
Yes,
So 2 uses on the property at that time?
yes.
And did you receive a zoning permit for either of those uses at that time?
No,
Okay. For then going further down the line, the next one was, Collins Inc. for storage, and you were storing concrete material.
no, for Collinson, they're basically a rail company.
Okay,
So they do post and rail repair on not only interstate highways, but also on rural roads.
okay, and they were doing their storage on the property as
Yes.
well? Okay,
Yes.
and the fencing company that we
Long
talked about?
fence, they primarily do median barrier replacement.
Okay.
So when you're driving down the highway and you see barrier broken, there's a certain amount of time the inspectors allow that contractor to replace broken barrier.
Did they operate their businesses on the property at that time, or were
Not-
they just using that for storage?
Just storage.
And at that same time, were you using a second use for the excavation business?
Yes, we operated out of that same
So
location.
you had 2 uses on the
Yes.
parcel?
I object to the categorization as a separate use. It was all highway material storage. Some was subcontracted, but I would object to
Understood.
that.
Your objection's noted. Do you have any other questions, Mr. Wessner?
For those, did you receive any type of zoning permit at the time for the
No.
use?
All right. Just so I'm clear, and I want, maybe counsel, you can help me out. Exhibit 18, which is the land development plan, the HUK file, that's recorded, I believe.
Correct.
Can you show me and show the board what portion of the property is included in that land development plan? Because I'm having a hard time.
Of what we're discussing. this
Yeah,
evening.
and it is any of, and I'm referring to Exhibit A17, is any of the portion of the property from A17 that we can clearly see use on included in this land development plan?
Yes, essentially, if you look at the cover sheet, which shows a location map,
Yeah.
there, on the left side of the cover sheet of the plan, there's a hatching that shows their project site. As a hatched area, it goes almost up to 78. And they have their project site.
We need to be quiet here, everyone, please.
Right here.
Hey, excuse me. No talking. Thank you.
And they end what they show as their project site at the zoning line. If you turn to the later plan sheets, sheet bottom right, 5 of 22. On that plan, north is up to your left. So I-78 is on the right side of the page.
Mhm.
Old 22 is at the bottom left of the page.
Okay.
And so the area we're talking about is, I would say, the bottom left corner of that sheet. It does not go all the way to the intersection of Monument and Old 22,
Okay.
where there's a residential house that's been described. But it does show,
But it encompasses a portion of the property that's clearly in use in A17,
correct,
this portion.
correct.
All right. Thank you, you clarified that for me. That's the only question I have. Counsel, I assume you have some questions.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Kauffman, for your testimony.
Sure.
I want to start I'm not gonna go through all of the history that you've testified to. Would you agree with me that at no point through the history of this property, you have applied for a permit to be issued by Windsor Township?
No,
You have a permit for, you applied for a permit, or an NPDES permit, and that was issued by the Conservation District, correct?
correct.
And not by Windsor Township?
No, that's correct.
And to your knowledge, Windsor Township did not have any role in whether that permit should be granted or denied?
No,
And would you agree with me that you have not come into into Windsor Township and requested that they approve a land development plan with regard specific to the use that you're using this area for?
no,
And would you agree with me that at no point Windsor Township has taken any formal action in support of your use of this property?
no,
In fact, the only application that you made was a variance application for a warehouse which was denied. I'm sorry.
no.
It was strike that. It was
actually approved,
approved.
but we never built it.
But you never built it.
Yeah,
And you would agree with me that you never in any formal capacity came to the township and asked for permission to utilize the property in the way that you're utilizing it?
no,
And you'd agree with me that during this period of time, you were aware that a portion of this property, approximately 250 feet, was in the R2 district?
no,
You were not aware of the zoning of your property?
no. Since my father came back from the supervisors actually approaching him with the problem that they were having with the Jimmy Mangle property, which is the subdivision east of Sunday Road. The understanding that I had and my sister had is that our property along Old Route 22 and between I-78 was rezoned industrial or I, limited I.
Did you ever review the zoning map for the township?
No. But I am saying that it was never brought to our attention, even by the township at that time, when it was proposed to change the zoning.
So is it your testimony that you were not aware that your property was in the R2 district? Any part of your property is in the R2 district?
That is correct.
Okay. And you've been in the township building before this?
Yes.
Okay. And are you aware that there is a zoning map that hangs in the township building?
Yes.
And for the record, I'm referencing a zoning map that's on the bulletin board behind where the board is sitting. I'm guessing from your testimony that you've never gone over to that bulletin board and looked at that map.
No, I didn't.
So then is your testimony that until you received the notice in February of 2025, you were not aware that your property was zoned R2?
That part of our property.
Correct,
was
correct.
zoned R2.
That part of your property was.
That is
zoned R2.
correct. Up until that point, we were under the impression that that entire parcel had been rezoned to limited industrial. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but it got overlooked somehow. Maybe on both parties.
I understand what you're saying. And now, as Mr. Wester pointed out, at various points, you were using the property the property in multiple ways, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And at no point did you come to the township and ask for a variance to utilize the property in multiple ways or for multiple uses?
No.
Now, you have also talked with your counsel about the condition of that property. Before you started storing material on that property, would you agree with me that the whole portion of that property, including the 250 feet that is zoned R2, could be used as farmland?
It could have been, yes.
And the reason that it cannot be used as farmland, you would agree with me, is because of the actions that you, and when I say you, I mean your partnership, not you specifically, have taken in storing materials on that property.
Yes.
And it's because of the construction storage that it has now become land that would likely be not tillable without a significant amount of work.
Correct.
So you'd agree with me that to the extent that that would be a hardship, that was caused by your actions or the actions of your partners?
Object, that's a legal conclusion.
Sustained, or to make that determination.
And you would agree that prior to, I believe it was 2013, that part of the property that was zoned R2 was that part of your clean and green parcel?
Is it? Yes.
If you don't know, you can say I don't know.
I'm not positive.
So would you agree that clean and green is generally a preferential tax program for,
Yes.
for agricultural land?
Yes.
So a portion of the property that was R2 would not be zoned agricultural, correct? So
I object, I think that's a legal conclusion too.
Can rephrase the question?
I can rephrase the question. The portion of this property that is zoned R2, would you agree that that's not zoned agriculture for agricultural use?
Well, I'll be honest with you. As you know, when we removed the 14 acres, from the Clean and Green program, we deleted the area that was actually in your R2 district. That was part of the 14 acres.
Okay. And you indicated on direct examination that you had received an estimate that your rollback taxes would be approximately $40,000.
In excess of.
In excess of. So you don't have a specific figure.
Can I reference what we already went through with Balfour Beatty?
Amen.
When Balfour Beatty left our property, if you look at one of the exhibits here, you'll see that we allowed them to move office trailers to the west side of Monument Road. And by doing so, they didn't notify us when we broke the covenant, but they waited the entire 7 years after Balfour Beatty left to nail us with a $38,500 rollback on the 68-acre parcel, which was all of our property in the limited industrial area.
Okay.
So by today's standards, as prices go up and taxes go up, it would be in excess of $40,000 today.
Is that based on your estimate?
Well, all I'm saying is I know what the taxes have gone up on our farms. They don't go down. Every year they seem to progressively go up. So that's my guesstimate, yes, because we paid $38,500 in rollback to the Clean and Green program after Balfour Beatty left our site.
So when you testified that you had contacted the assessment office, is that in relation to your discussion with regard to this Balfour Beatty issue?
Yes.
Okay. And Balfour Beatty left your property in 2012?
Yeah, I guess that would be right.
So that's when you made had that discussion?
Yeah.
And so you're not aware, as you sit here today, what exactly the rollback tax will be?
No, not exactly.
And you're not aware of whether you would have a breach on the entire 68 parcel or a lesser portion?
Yes.
You're not aware?
No, I'm not aware.
And
I'll object to this on, that's a legal conclusion. I guess he's not aware. If he wants to say he's not aware.
he said he's not aware, and that was the question.
He's answered the question.
Okay. And I'm almost done. I'd prefer if I could just finish the cross-examination.
Okay, we'll do that. This might be a good breaking point to say, generally speaking, I let these hearings go for about 2 hours. And the reason for that, once we hit that point, I think everybody's eyes start to glaze over. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind. We have more testimony. We've got a lot of people here, so I don't know that we're going to get through all of this tonight. So I wanted to keep that in everybody's brain that we may need to pick a second night. So continue on. Go ahead.
Now I've got to find where it was.
I'm sorry. You blame me.
Just give me a moment.
You unfolded something in the binder, that's where you
No, that doesn't mean anything. So you had provided an exhibit which is marked as A20, which indicates an invoice from McCarthy Engineering and Associates, which was stated there was a total fee of $3,400. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And but then you testified that the total cost was $6,000 to $7,000, which is that's not reflected on this invoice, is it?
No, it's not. It was additional, as a matter of fact, there were some things that they performed after this documentation.
Okay. But you haven't presented any of those additional invoices here this evening?
No.
And your expenditures that you've testified to consist of the McCarthy Engineering invoices and a potential for rollback taxes, correct?
Not on that particular project, no.
Well, let me rephrase that. So your testimony was that the expenses that you've incurred allegedly in reliance on the variance by estoppel that you're claiming are based on what you've been billed by McCarthy Engineering if you had to move the construction material, you would incur rollback taxes. Is that correct?
No, I don't think so.
And do you have any buildings constructed in this construction yard?
No.
Any structures?
I have a steel structure that we removed from another job site.
Is that a temporary structure?
It's not built.
No, it's not
Hold
built.
on, hold on.
It's
Sorry,
actually,
my bad.
So it's not built?
no, it's not built. We removed it, we took it all down, and we took it piece by piece on trailers back to our yard, unloaded it, used a barrier to actually set the steel on, to hopefully keep it off the ground so it wouldn't rust.
If I may clarify, is it simply a pile of steel material sitting on the property today?
Yes.
Well, that was my next question. So thank you. So you're just storing it there, you're not actually using it?
No,
Okay, that was,
it's not a building.
it's not a building. And you testified that you have other land that is in the limited industrial area that you could store these materials?
Well, it would only be in that site that basically would be what we've already put under contract with H&K, and the property that we are now operating on, which would be the south side of that original equipment and batch plant site.
Okay.
And we have no intention on moving further east. I know some of the folks that might be here tonight have no idea, what our intentions are. Basically, the footprint that we're on now is where we expect to stay.
Just give me one moment, Mr. Chairman.
Take your time.
I have nothing further at this point.
All right. I think the board's asked to take a break here. Why don't we give it 5 minutes and then we'll come back. And when we come back, we'll start with the parties and any questions that they have for the witness.
I do have some rebuttal testimony to those questions.
We'll give you an
We'll go to
opportunity.
that after
When all
everyone
the
else.
parties have asked their questions, I figure that might be the best time to give you an
That's
opportunity to
perfect.
redirect.
Thank you, just wanted to understand your intention.
All right. So we'll go off the record for now, take a 5-minute break. All right, everybody, everyone, please. We're trying to select another date for the next hearing. We've come up with 2 dates, and I want to make sure that everybody who's made themselves a party can attend. So we've come up with August 25th or August 27th. So if you've made yourself a party, do either of those dates work for you?
27th is better for us.
There you go.
Someone
So,
turns 5.
August
And I asked you,
I don't think he'd want his birthday here. We don't.
Yeah, he doesn't want to celebrate here unless you're going to have cake for his birthday.
I might be able to make that work.
we'll keep that in mind. All right. You prefer,
27th.
all right, yeah.
I
Can you
don't have to
make it?
take, I have to take my brother to Philly at 4 or something, so I don't know if I'll make, I thought my husband, he might be able to.
I'll try. 27th, what, Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday.
All right.
Count me in.
All right. Anybody else make themselves a party?
I'm good either day.
You're good. All right, so we're gonna do the 27th, Wednesday the 27th.
We get out of traffic and back.
All right. All right.
It sounds like,
What's the date?
Wednesday the 20th, August 27th,
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Maybe.
Before we go back on the record, just for the lawyers, do you want to do any more questioning tonight? I'll leave it to you. We can go for another 15 minutes or so. I'm fine with that.
I don't have any questions, but I don't.
We're going to start with the parties. I mean, this might be a nice clean break to start the next hearing. It's up to you. I'll stay for another 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, but.
I'm okay if you want to continue it now,
All right.
rather than kind of launch.
That's fine. Let's go for another 20 minutes or so.
Oh,
And then we'll,
okay.
Is that
Yeah,
what
no,
you're-
that's fine. I thought you were saying the opposite, but I'm fine with either.
All right, we'll go for another 20 minutes or so. Okay. You ready? All right, we're back on the record here. We're going to start with any questions that the parties may have of this witness. So I'm going to start over here.
Could we defer to the 27th, because we kind of want to
Yeah, we didn't.
look at this compared to what we prepared. If we could, that would be great.
That, you know what?
Because mine is 27 pages, so there's a lot to look through.
Fine, that's fine. We're going to stop here for this evening. We're going to come back. We'll announce the next hearing date. It will be Wednesday, August 27th, in this building, again, starting at 7 o'clock sharp. Wednesday, August 27th, in this building, starting at 7 sharp. And we will pick up where we left off with you, sir. You'll be the first one to ask questions of this witness. All right, that's going to conclude the hearing for this evening. Thank you, everyone.
And just to also, I believe, reference, there is this transcript that's been requested from tonight's proceedings that would be available, correct?
Yes, I have asked the stenographer to begin preparing that, and I believe she has your contact information. You two can communicate.
Thank you.
Same with the township. I believe the township would like a copy of the transcript.
Yes, and the other parties, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah,
Conditions for that.
if for the parties, if you would like a copy of the transcript, there is a cost to that. I would suggest that after the hearing, you speak with the stenographer, get some contact information for that. So are there any questions from any of the parties on that? Okay. With that, we're going to close the hearing this evening. Thank you.